So why did it take so long for the APC to get its acts together enough to hold its National Caucus and National Executive Committee meetings? Why did it take nearly 2 years for this to happen? And what does this tell us about the ructions that appear to be shaking the party? Amid growing disaffection and ballooning debt, at last count, the party was owing nearly 9 billion naira. So many glaringly absent bigwigs: Muhammadu Buhari, Yemi Osibajo, Ahmed Lawan, Rotimi Amechi, Nasir El-Rufai and Kayode Fayemi are the ones that come readily to mind. And they weren't all absent just because of their busy schedules, as some APC officials claimed. Many didn't turn up because, quite simply, they were deeply unhappy with what one of them described as a one-man show, and another called a kakistocracy, a party that's ruled by incompetent people, and that's additionally become grossly lacking in internal democracy. So what are we to make of all this? What exactly is going on in the APC? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the National Secretary of the APC, Senator Ajibola Basiru. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Yeah, thank you very much.
How do you assess the outcome of the meetings of both the National Caucus and the NEC?
First and foremost, I must first correct some factual inaccuracies in your intro to this program. It's not the case that this is the first caucus and NEC meeting since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the president. That was indeed in this same building, housing your station, August 3rd, 2023, a National Executive Council meeting where I and Dr. Abdullahi Umaru Ganduje was elected as National Chairman and National Secretary of the party. And a day before that, there was a caucus meeting at the Villa. Also, some of the people that you mentioned that did not attend the NEC meeting are not members of NEC by our constitution.
No, I didn't say just NEC. I said people who were NEC or caucus.
Yes, let me, I want to get, it's good to get facts right. Yeah. Ahmed Lawan was at the caucus meeting day before yesterday. So it's factual inaccuracy to do so. Former Vice President Yemi Osibajo sent an apology through Mr. Adepaye, and I have the apology on my phone here. So he did not absent himself because of the reason that you claim. Even after the meeting, he still sent a message whether we deliver and noted the reason why he was not here. Dr. Kayode Fayemi was at the caucus, and when you go and check his social media page, he also gave a thumbs up for the meeting and gave very impressive comments about the meeting. So some of these factual inaccuracies need to be corrected so that people don't get a wrong impression. Then another factual inaccuracy is that people take, and I think it's usual to, I count it as indolence, to just take word out of context. What the president, or what the chairman of the party said in the context of legal liability was that at inception of our own administration in August last year, the legal liability to law firms for post-election, pre-election was 8.7. That actually had been cleared to a very large extent. So, but people just pick up figure and say that this is it. Part of it had been settled, and I can specifically mention the 3.5 billion claims from a consortium of lawyers led by Niya Akitola, which had been resolved. So people just pick and just come and sensationalize. Our party is very solvent, and that is why the main business of our National Executive Council meeting was actually to consider the audited account for 2022-2023, ratification of 2024 budget, and a budget of about 30 billion for 2025. And the sources of income were stated. Our party is very solvent, and there are no dissensions. When you have the attendance at the caucus and the NEC was more than 85%. And when you discover that it was on Friday that the new notice for the caucus and NEC came forward, and then were able to attend. Then about the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, he could not be able to attend, and his aides at Ambassador Kasaure sent a message that he would not be able to make it because of the shortness of the notice that was given, because the letter was actually delivered to him on Monday, although we had prepared the letter on Friday.
Well, he said he received the letter on Tuesday.
So the reasons is not because of maybe some other people who have problems with appointment, that are trying to mix up issue of party politics with issue of participation in government. There are quite a number of our leaders, both are serving and those who are not even in government, that attended the programs. We have more than 85% attendance, both at the caucus and of course at the, and you see the pictures are there for you to see, prominent party members. So you don't judge. In democracy,
well, you've made
democracy
the point,
is about majority.
Yeah.
It's not about absolute.
No, that's understood. But the fact is that we made it clear that some people did not attend because they could not attend. Others did not attend because they felt that they didn't want to attend because of the issues that they raised.
You see, if you
that's a fact.
Yeah, Mr. Nyagolu, if you don't attend a meeting of your political party because you have issues, the question is that which other forum will you have to be able to ventilate whatever grievance you have? Is it by going to social media or by going to newspaper? My father was a politician. Politics is about meeting. Meeting is about politics. So whatever issues you have, you must be able to come and ventilate your issues. But if you decide to absent yourself, from meetings, and you are making claim that there is a one-man show, there's no one-man show. Our party is a party of organization, and we have no less than 9 structures that I will explain. We have unit level, we have ward level, we have local government level, we have state level, we have zonal level, we have national level. At the level of National Working Committee, comprising of about 25 people, we have been meeting weekly to be able to give direction to our political party. And that is why, go and check records. The off-circle election that we have had, except for Bayelsa, that was the only place where we lost off-circle election.
Can I ask you a question, please? Are you saying that you have kept to the rules of your party, the constitutional requirements in terms of the frequency of the holding of NEC and caucus meetings? Have you held to that? Has that been constitutionally?
NEC meeting, we are in arrears of about 3 quarters.
Right. So you didn't actually meet your constitutional
requirement. Of course, it happens.
Okay, because you're making the argument as though people are making up stories against you.
The reasons why there are many reasons. You cannot say because NEC did not vote, which is one organ of the party. And mind you, on August 3rd, the NEC that was held in these premises, the NEC, knowing that there may be challenges in holding a NEC immediately, made a directive and a resolution that the National Working Committee should act in the place of NEC pending the time a new NEC will be done. And what have we done in that period, within that period of time? The auditors were appointed. We saw through to the completion of the audit process 2022-2023. We also saw to the filling of the vacancies that arose as a result of death or because we decided to rearrange the zoning of our program. So the fact that NEC did not meet does not mean that the work of NEC was left undone, because there is an external resolution that allowed the NEC to work. But we must be able to make a difference between people who are genuinely concerned about how parties are run and processes of the party, and those who feel bitter because they are left out of political patronage and see getting political appointment as their battle.
Yeah,
I want to, for instance,
right.
One of our leaders.
You can't keep talking. It's a dialogue. It's not a monologue. Okay, so you talk and I talk, and the point here is that a lot of members, your members, even members of the NEC, complained about the lack of the meetings.
A lot. What are the lot? What
I'm saying is that people didn't people complain? It doesn't matter how many complain. Even if one member complained, that's something you should take into consideration. That's why your party should be democratic.
We have not. No, democracy, please.
No, but you're saying it. You're trying to present it as if everything is shipshape and seaworthy. It isn't.
I've told you that we have not held NEC for 3 quarters, and I've said that nothing has been lost because there is an external resolution, and I've addressed that. But democracy, let me tell you, whether within or outside political party, is heterogeneous. In fact, there are conflicting ideas, conflicting interests, and that is why there is a political party to possibly aggregate those interests. And when people feel overboard about those interests, you cannot have, even within your own organization, an absolute unanimity on every issue.
Right. So you don't think.
So for me, and I'm saying it here, I've not absolved. I won't come and lie to you that we did not hold the NEC, but then whatever decision NEC would have done, there was a constitutional way by which that authors had been filled up.
So you don't think that those who were absent from that those meetings, NEC or caucus, that it is significant that they were absent? Because even the president himself called for reconciliation. He called for people to be brought together. He obviously felt concerned that there was an element of things that were not going right.
People should not take word out of context.
It's not being taken out of context.
I was on the top table with the president, and so people don't take. We are not talking of what the president said at the caucus. I don't know where you know was that we should look at possibility of expanding membership of our caucus. And at the caucus, it was also discovered that some people who were members of the caucus, like former governors, are not members of the National Executive Committee. And the president said, let us look at way by which we're able to harmonize to ensure that former governors, past leaders of the party who are members of the caucus, but by constitutional provisions are not members of the NEC, should be carried along. That is the first contest. And in resolving that issue, a committee was set up, headed by the governor of Yobe State, with representation from all zones, to look at that constitutional issue. That is how political parties resolve its issues. Then when you talk of reconciliation, it's not about those people that call it. There are some states where we know we have some concerns, and that is the context in which the president is saying we should be able to go into that. But for those who are already possibly on the way out of the party and thinking by going to the media to demarcate the party is the way by which they want to work, I don't think the president is making reference into that regard. So you must be able to make a distinction between people who are really genuinely concerned about the organization of our constitutional arrangement for more inclusivity, and those who feel that calling our party, which is headed by a PhD holder as the chairman, a PhD holder as the secretary, as a party of semi-literate. I don't know what they mean by literacy in that context.
That's something, they're members of your party. That's something you can discuss with them. I mean,
no, you mentioned it in your intro. That's why I'm referring to it.
So a PhD holder is semi-literate. We mentioned it because your people are...
Not my people. There are people who are on the way on the way. There are people who are on the way out of the party because of their service interests.
Your people are drawing attention to those issues.
And it is our responsibility. Let them go to their states
to bring those issues to your attention. You talked about the issue of debt. And the fact that, the chairman of your party talked about the fact that there was $8.6 billion.
As at inception.
Right, so that there was, when he took over.
Yes.
Yeah, that there was $8.6 billion. I mean, what are we supposed to make of that? You're saying that much of that debt has now been retired. Is that right?
Mr. Ajibola, let me tell you the context in which those issues arose. The main purpose of the NEC that was aired yesterday was actually to present the books of the party to stakeholders. And I dare say that you also can check whether there's any other political party that is that transparent of calling the main critical stakeholders to present audited financial statement and also present budget for approval. So in the context, you cannot hide whether you are owing or whether you are not owing. Part asset and liability. Deficit financing is part of what is recognized as a means of running a business. So the fact that you are indebted does not mean that you are not solvent. If you're able to meet your obligation based on the cash flow that you have, of course you'll be able to resolve.
We just want to establish that is the debt that you have.
That's what we inherited, but it's been liquidated largely.
Right.
And you see
so what is the balance now?
I'm not the financial
but you said you're making a defense. If you don't have knowledge of it,
no, I've told you, I'll give you an instance of a 3.5 billion that have been settled. You can also work the arithmetic and deduct 3.5 billion from 8.6 billion. But I cannot tell you this is the figure, because if you had asked me, I'll call the treasurer to tell me the figure. If I mention a figure here, I'll be like, but I know that some of those indebted that have been done, and we had a meeting. Most of all these debt you are talking about, they are owed to lawyers for litigations. And it will interest you. Since we came on board, we have reduced liabilities in terms of legal exposure. Because what happened is that we have been able to improve our internal resolution mechanism, ensuring that we're able to manage post-primary conflict so that it does not result in litigation. So we're talking of inherited legal liability to lawyers, and we have had meeting with them. Some of them have decided to compromise and then take a lesser sum so that we continue to move forward. Some, we are still talking to them. Part of the ability of leaders is being able to resolve
I just need to be clear on that issue of debt. You're saying that the party is not owing 8.6 billion.
Definitely, we are not owing 8.6 billion.
Why was the chairman calling for a bailout of that debt?
He did not call for a bailout. Maybe you go and read the text. He said he was highlighting and telling them that this was the obligation we have, and that we have been able to sort out, but that some of our accounts are still being garnished. That is the context in which that statement is made. He's not asking for bailout. We have a budget of 26 billion for 2025, so we cannot be asking for bailout. He just highlights the concerns so that the stakeholders will be able to know.
So just to be clear, the APC is managing its resources very well, and it's not having a run on its funds.
Definitely.
Right. And there's no question of the APC being, if you like, impoverished by this massive debt.
It's not massive. We pay our obligations as at when due. And of course, there's no organization that does not have some form of either direct or contingent liability. And that's why when you present your a balance sheet, you're able to reflect that in any account. Even Nigeria as a country has such kind of liabilities,
right.
Either direct liability or contingent or whatever you call it in accounting. And that does not mean that you are not solvent.
Okay.
In fact, it may even be a tactics for you to get trade debts if you are doing financing.
I just need to be clear on the facts. The other fact is that you don't think that it is a violation of your constitution, the fact that you have failed to hold your meetings in accordance with the rules of the party.
I've told you that there is no legal lacuna because there was a resolution by which the NWC was acting in that regard. In any event, that has become academic because now we have held the NWC and all relevant resolutions had been taken to ensure that our financial records are put in shape and then submitted to the National Convention when we hold sale.
But the lack of fidelity to those rules is one of the reasons given by some very senior members of the party why they believe that there is no longer any internal democracy.
I've told you that people have reasons for saying what they have. There are so many organs of our party. You cannot pick and cherry pick one organ to determine the state of our party. In fact, if there's any political party that works day and night and carry along its members in this organization, it is the APC. Today, myself and the national chairman, we were in Kebbi with the governor of Kebbi State. Last week, we also organized a program in Kebbi whereby party members across the wards in Kebbi State with the Minister for Budget and Economic Planning were sensitized and mobilized, preparing ahead of subsequent elections. 3 weeks ago, we were in Anambra. Tomorrow, we are going to be in Kwara State. So we do our work. Party structure is not just about sitting or 2-3 hours meeting either in the villa or in the cozy area of the Transcorp Hilton. It is a rigorous work requiring intense mobilization, organization, and sensitization of members. And one of the measures that were put in place to carry along all stakeholders under the leadership of Dr. Abdullahi Umaru Ganduje was to even have a zonal structure by which 6 of our governors, and that was part of the report given by the national chairman yesterday, 6 governors from each of the geopolitical are now coordinators. And last year alone, we had at least 2 stakeholders engagement of all critical stakeholders in the zone. So if somebody did not attend his ward meeting, he did not attend his state meeting, did not attend zonal stakeholder meeting, even when his governor is the chairman of the Southwest, then came on national television and said there is no inclusion in the party, there is kakistocracy, you ask the person whether he does not have ulterior motive for making such kind of statements.
If you're not holding yourselves to your own rules, how can Nigerians be confident that you will run this country by the rules?
You see,
it's a straightforward question.
It's not straightforward. There's no absolutism.
It is a straightforward question.
You know what we call rule of substantiality in law. There's no like absolute compliance. You would have been able to comply with the law when you have substantially comply with the law. And that is why all litigations, all legislations, when it comes to political questions, talk about test of substantiality. So I would say that substantially, with what I've said, of other organs of the party functioning, the party has substantially, even though not absolutely, comply with the provision of the Constitution. And that test of substantiality satisfies the requirement that this is a party that believes itself. You are talking about one party What of some political party who cannot even, who don't even know who they are?
Yeah, but we're not talking about those
parties. No, those are the questions.
We're talking about your party.
Have said that our own party substantially is complying with this provision of the Constitution, and that will suffice.
Well, that's what you say. A lot of other people disagree with you.
Heterogeneity of ideas is
members of your own party disagree with you.
Few of them. Majority,
quite a lot of them disagree. I mean, and it's not just the issue of whether or not you are constitutionally doing the right thing in terms of the time, frame within which you held some of your important meetings. It's also about money, accountability, the issues around, I mean, these are things that are raised by your people.
Which accountability? I've told you that we presented audited accounts to our stakeholders, audited properly by a firm of auditors. So we have complied with the provision.
No, I'm simply telling you the issues that people
can raise any issue. In politics, anybody can raise any issue. The issue may, just like I've explained to you, people can raise issues for whatever reasons they have. Somebody is already talking about 2031.
What about the issue of billions of naira? And again, please remember that it's not me saying this. We're simply quoting people from statements from your members. Billions of naira from the sale of forms, from all kinds of things that they say still has not been accounted.
Then somebody must be mischievous. I told you yesterday, we presented audited, not unaudited account. I don't know whether you know significance of an account being audited for 2022, 2023, and we presented the unaudited account for 2024, and we got approval for 2025 budget. I don't know what other level of transparency in accounting that you require.
Well, I haven't seen your books, so I can't make that assessment.
You can possibly apply for.
I am simply telling you.
You know, this thing I'm doing is also where this is not only internal to our party. By the Constitution of Nigeria and Electoral Acts, we are mandated to present our books to the Independent National Electoral Commission. And to date, our books are with the National INEC, so you may apply. Or any other person who feel concerned may apply for certified.
And how often are you expected to present that to the Electoral Commission?
Annually, we have done the one for 2024.
And you do it, and you've done it consistently since 2023.
Definitely.
Right. Okay. Now, there was a resounding vote of confidence in President Tinubu. No big surprise there. But does that vote of confidence close off the chances of other people wanting to challenge him from within the APC in 2027?
We are not yet there. So you cannot say you preclude anybody from contesting against President Bola Tinubu. And I think the vote of confidence should be put in context. It is in context of the fact that our party stakeholders felt that we are now seeing the results of the reform agenda of President Bola Tinubu. No doubt, when those reforms were put in place, it was very challenging. And of course, it was felt that maybe the light at the end of the tunnel would take a long time. But we are beginning to see the gestation is getting, slower, and we are beginning to get the result. And of course, when somebody is doing well, you should also be able to encourage him. And when you look at the tone by which the vote of confidence is given, is also giving the president encouragement to do more towards realization of the Renew Hope agenda. And there were facts. And that was the basis of that vote of confidence. And if you look through the speeches made by Senator Adams Oshiomhole, by the governor of Ogun State, and the chairman of Progressive Forum, letterning of achievement of President Bola Tinubu, warranting that vote of confidence was said. For instance, making funds more accessible for infrastructure, not only at the national, but at the subnational level. The introduction of the student loan fund, by which no less than 650,000 students had benefited, being able to have access to higher education. And of course, the fact that even the monetary and fiscal policy is beginning to yield results. And when it was felt that Naira was on a free fall, going to almost about 2,000, you see the Naira farming itself against the dollar. And of course, you also see even the first subsidy being removed and the attendant infrastructure development that were able to free our resources, particularly in the area of financing of our budget. A situation whereby we are servicing our debt with about 97% debt, which has reduced to about 65%. These are empirical facts. We are not sycophantic. And we also know that we need to do more. Food prices by December, we knew where it was. It was very alarming. But now go to the market, do your survey. So we believe that the president's policy is beginning to have results. We need to encourage him to do more. And of course, we believe that he's not a person that is concerned about the next election. He's not really concerned about the next generation. Well, if you are concerned about the next election, you will not be able to take those very important decisions which ought to have been taken decades earlier.
Well, to be entirely fair, I'm not sure where you do your shopping, and I'm not sure where you do change your monies, but I mean, the rate for the dollar has not reduced significantly, nor have prices in the market. I mean, the National Bureau of Statistics comes up every few months with the prices in the market, and there hasn't been a significant decrease. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about.
I speak to facts. As of today, the rate of dollar is 1,480. In December, it was 1,570. So there was a reduction.
Well, that's not a significant reduction.
No, it's a question of, you can even say 10 naira is not significant.
Yeah, but the point that you need, the measure of it is what was it?
At some point in the session of this administration.
When you speak, I have to speak. Okay. When President Tinubu came in, what was the rate? And what is the rate today?
Policies differs.
That's the way that you measure it.
That's not the issue. At that time, Naira was being subsidized.
Anyway, look, we're almost out of time, Senator. Let me ask you this. I mean, was this assessment that you said you did at your meeting, was it all about patting yourselves on the back, or did you conduct a sober reflection on where you are also failing to do well, with a resolve to do better in those areas? And can you point those areas out to us?
I've said
well,
that.
You didn't mention any of those. You just talked about the high points.
I've said that, but if you chose not to look at it,
where are the areas that you're not doing well?
Of course, we need to do more in the area of food sovereignty. What the president said at the caucus was that we are even going beyond issue of food security. We want to talk about food sovereignty. The president says that much at the caucus. Of course, we also need to do more in being able to address the issue of youth inclusiveness and youth engagement and entrepreneurship. That was also said at the caucus. And of course, we need also do more in the area of expanding opportunities for our businesses.
What about the rate of growth of the economy? Because the promise you made when you came in is a far cry from where Nigeria is today.
The economy is growing from the recent statistics received by the NBS, even though I have doubts about some of those statistics. But I know that Nigeria
When you say you have doubts, you mean doubts that it's not growing at that pace?
Because they come late.
That it's growing at less.
They come late in terms of timing. You see, you can be a report released in February may be related to facts or what that was collated in December. So the question of the temporal dimension, when the fact was collated and when the figures were being released, is also an aspect that need to be figured into such assessments. But I know definitely the prices go, you said where I price it, go to Wuse Market and go and know when in December, how much was a bag of rice, how much is it today? Go to Day Market, go and price there. What is happening? So we are talking about it, but of course, whether they are significant or not, a matter of subjectivity. But of course, there's a difference.
Well, we could argue about this all day, but unfortunately we're out of time. I want to thank you very much indeed, Senator Ajibola Basiru. He's the National Secretary of the APC. Thank you.
Thank you.